What's up, everybody? This is the PlayStation Lifestyle Underground Podcast. I am Hugo Stiglitz. You can find me on PSN as Hugo Stiglitz _420. I got two other guys with me today. You guys want to say hello?
Yeah, sure. I'm Steve Bitto. I'm the community manager for PlayStation Lifestyle. You can find me on the forums over there at Steven Bitto. And then you can find me on the PlayStation Network as Tyler X Durden.
And hey, I'm Wani Barra, and I'm on the forums as Johnny Barra, I believe, and I'm on PSN as Jackman1997.
Awesome. And I did forget to mention that we are an unofficial podcast of PlayStationLifestyle.net. We are supposed to do that, so I got to get that in there. And lately, what I have been playing is lots of Metal Gear Solid Phantom Pain, nonstop. Played about 12 hours of it the day it came out, and pretty much every waking hour I've been playing that. Well, except for when I'm at work. At work, I've been playing Resident Evil Revelations 2, Uncharted 2 last week, and a little bit of Killzone. Before Metal Gear Solid 5 came out, I was playing Metal Gear Solid 4. I finished that last weekend. It's still my favorite in the series.
Best.
It is. I love it. Although I think 1 is the best, I just love 4. It's so good. I also was playing some Resistance 3 because I got the Move sharpshooter thing. Wicked cheap. There's a store called CEX that they had Move controllers for like $3, navigation controllers for $3. Sports Champions was 25 cents, and the sharpshooter was $4. So it was like, hey, screw it.
You got lucky there.
And I was like, I got that. Although I think I only have 2 games that it works with. But it is really fun to go back through Resistance 3. It's such a good game, and it does take a little getting used to with the sharpshooter, but it is a fun way to play, and an excuse to replay a really good game. Other than that,
I actually couldn't play Resistance with it. I couldn't get it to be feasible.
What do you mean?
With a sharpshooter, I just couldn't get it to work with the looking around with the gun.
Yeah.
I actually Killzone 3 actually works pretty well with though.
Yeah, I did. I don't know. They seem pretty similar to me, but I did like the button configuration on Killzone much better. For some dumb reason, they have the trigger on the nav controller as your grenade thing, and then the bumper is the aim down sights, which makes no sense. It should be the other way around, which is how it is on Killzone, but on Resistance it's that way for whatever reason. I still it takes time to get used to, because I was having the same trouble you were, turning around and all that. It's very difficult, but once you get used to it, it's not bad. But I still would never see it competing with a controller as far as actually playing. But it is a fun way to play. I do enjoy it. But other than that, I did get to try out the demo of Dying Light, and I absolutely loved it. If it wasn't for Metal Gear Solid, I would have got that game right away. Just because I really had fun. I've played it 3 times already. It's trying to speed run it, and I'm probably gonna play it again too. It's an hour demo, but I'm not. I keep playing it over and over again. It's so much fun. Also finished up Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes. Project Cars, F1. Played those. I tried Grow Home a little bit. Played the Arkham Knight 1989 movie packs, and I think that's about it from my very long list of games I've played since the last time we podcasted. What have you guys been playing?
Yeah, so I got into Until Dawn over the weekend. I played it through.
Awesome.
I absolutely loved it. I thought it nailed the cinematic choice, decision making experience. I thought it was the story was actually really good, which I did not expect, and the reviews did a good job not giving anything away because there's some pretty good twists. I also played Journey through once,
nice.
Which it's kind of obligatory now that I have it on PS4 to play it again. And I'm still working through Bastion too.
Nice.
Not bad. It's a fun game. I like Bastion a lot. Let's see what I've been playing. Mostly Hotline Miami 2, and I think I've gotten spoiled with cross save because I play on PS4 level, turn off, and at night I'll lay in bed, turn on the PS Vita, play it in there. Actually, a while back I was playing Stealth Inc. 2, and that game didn't have cross save, and I just was like, oh well, that sucks. And so I played it only on Vita, and that severely made and because of that I didn't finish the game. I just got distracted with other stuff. But if it was on PS4 and Vita, it's awesome. Just switch back and forth through it. But other than Hotline Miami 2, I've been playing some of Grim Fandango Remastered. I'm enjoying that a lot. I've been playing with the director's commentary on, and that's really cool to listen to. Hear just how they problem solved through some limitations on the hardware back then. It was really interesting to listen to. Also, I played an hour of Until Dawn. I rented it. I might finish that up to tonight, hopefully. We'll see how that goes. And then Rocket League, like always. That's it.
Oh yeah, me too. I forgot to mention that. I did actually get Grim Fandango because it was on sale wicked cheap. I haven't tried it yet, but yeah.
It's fun. So it's cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to trying it when I have time, which is a long time from now. Metal Gear Solid is a very deep game. I can already tell. It's going to take me a lot longer than the 30 hours that some people are saying. Like, I'm already taking super long on it just because of the way I play it. So.
Yeah, that's why I didn't buy it. I started up school, and I'm not going to have time, so I'm waiting on that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how the checkpoint system works, but because I've been afraid to even test it out. But I don't know. It seems like you can play for a while and then not hit a checkpoint. It depends though. I guess it depends on the mission. But there's been times where I went a good 45 minutes, and then decided to hit restart checkpoint, and ended up at the beginning. It was kind of because of what I was doing. It wasn't a typical mission, but. Yeah, no, it seems like it's not like a hop on and hop off type of game. It seems like to me, so it can be tough to crunch when you don't have the time, which I don't. But I'm just doing it on my days off and the little free time I have after work. But all right, we're actually gonna start doing a new part of the podcast now. We're gonna start, talking about current events, just whatever issue or a new event we want to discuss, and then we're going to do our regular topic type stuff after that. But this week it's kind of, to me, it's a pretty funny one, but apparently last week Jimmy Kimmel did a little segment on his late night show. I mean, he's one of the late night hosts, the Tonight Show and all that stuff. He did a little segment poking fun at YouTube gaming and all the people who watch people streaming games instead of playing them themselves. And I thought the piece was funny, but a ton of people did not. If you look on that video, there's over 100,000 dislikes. There's nothing but hate in the comments. There's only I think 10,000 likes. So it's a huge dislike ratio. So people are very butthurt about this. And what made it worse is a couple days later, because he found out about all this, he decided, I'm going to read their comments on TV on my show and make fun of them. And he did a pretty good job with that. I thought it was really funny, and I thought he really made some great points too. I mean, I'm a huge gamer, but I can't argue with a lot of what he was saying. And he did 2 episodes of reading those comments. I don't know if he's doing a third tonight, but he's done 2 so far, and it's been pretty funny, I thought. But a lot of people are really, really pissed. What's his name? Boogie even made a video about it as Francis. What do you guys think about it? Do you guys watch a whole lot of live streams? What do you think about the whole live stream versus playing the game yourself thing?
Personally, I think it's a great way to kind of get a feel for what a game is, because a trailer, obviously, just like a movie trailer, it's made to make you want it, so it's not really a great representation of what you're going to be doing. So I think it's a great way to figure out what the game's all about. But some people really, I think, and maybe the majority of people who watch, are going way overboard, and they'll watch
Totally
somebody
agree.
play a game instead of just playing it themselves.
Yeah.
That
And I
drives
think
me
that's
nuts.
kind of
Yeah.
I think that's not good. But I really do feel like a large amount of people that are watching these things, that's what they do.
Yeah.
They just watch and they don't play.
Like, I hate
Right?
hearing
They
that.
just would rather watch someone play a game instead of play it themselves.
Yeah.
Like, I hate hearing it in in people talking, saying, "Oh no, I didn't play the game, but I watched the playthrough on YouTube." And it's like, dude, you are.
Yeah.
What is wrong with you? You're ruining that game. Like, you're
Exactly.
like, there's just no way you can try to compare the two experiences. Like, watching someone play a game is not the same thing at all as playing it yourself. And like, I
It's
do
not
know what
even
you're
close.
saying with the streaming thing, like, but I think that only works to a certain point, and I think in some cases it actually can be bad, because like, if you watch someone stream Journey per se, it might look boring. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think it depends on the game. Like, it depends on the situation, but I do agree that the people who are like just sitting there watching live streams all day instead of actually playing games, I don't understand why they do it, and that was mainly what Jimmy was poking fun at. Like, he's not. Like, he because people wrote in the comments too, like, that he read on the show. He's like, you know, exactly what you just said. Like, you know, what if you want to check out a game? Like, you know, $60 is a lot of money. He conceded to that point. Like, but he said, like, you know, but he's continued to make fun of the fact that people are sitting there doing nothing but watching the games. Like, you know what I mean? Like, instead of actually playing it. And also, he tried to compare it to sports. I think that is not. No, I mean, not Jimmy. Some of the commenters compared it to sports, which I think is kind of a crazy comparison to make. What do you guys think
It is
about
a crazy
that?
comparison to make.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not even close to sports. Sports is a very different thing,
Mhm.
because I mean,
In some respects, I
Yeah.
can see the comparison, but it really
Yeah.
depends. There's a very few amount of games that I would even think you can draw that comparison. You know, maybe like StarCraft, or is it League of Legends? Is that the
Yeah,
huge
League of
PC
Legends.
game? Like, if you obviously those are like the best players. Like, if you're watching one of the best players do something that you just aren't going to be able to ever physically do, and it impresses you, that I see that comparison to sports. Like, you're watching an NFL game, because really you can't go out there and do that in your backyard or with your friends.
Yeah.
Like, you can't. You're not that good. You're never going to be that good.
See, that's why I found the comparison to be crazy, because, you know, you can't just go play football or baseball or hockey whenever you want. You can pretty much play video games whenever you want, though. Like, I mean, assuming you have the free time, which is a given. But if you have a console and a TV, you can play video games whenever you want. You can't, like, you have to organize a football game or basketball, like, because I mean, they're team sports, and so to say that, you know, someone who watches football instead of actually playing it is no better than someone who watches someone play a video game instead of playing it. It's just not a realistic comparison, because, you know, one is very easy for one person to do at any time they want. The other is not. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
it takes a lot of organization to get people together to play, like, flag football or any type of stuff like that. Like, it takes organization
Yeah.
and scheduling, and, you know, it's just not a fair comparison to make. So I thought the whole situation was funny. His jokes, I thought, were pretty good about it, and it's just it is a strange part of the gaming world that, like, a lot of people will, you know, not even really play games. They'll just watch it on YouTube and think that that's somehow equivalent or a fair experience to see a full game, like, with, you know, just watching someone else play it. Like, I've heard people say that they've done that with The Last of Us, and that just, like, oh man, like, how could you do that? It's like that
Yeah,
game.
and honestly, it's one of those things, like, you take a step back, and it is pretty laughable
Yeah, it totally is.
that people really do this. I can't believe it's as big as it is. It's crazy. That's crazy to me too, that it's taken off how it has.
I mean, especially, like, the people
Yeah.
who actually can play games. Like, I could see, you know, someone watching someone in their own house, like an older person or like a mom or something, watching their kid play a full game because they had, like, Last of Us have a really good story, or Uncharted or something. But watching it on the internet, where you could just play it on your own console, like, that's just crazy to me. You know what I mean? But
Agreed. Yeah.
and so it's like, I don't think the hate that Jimmy is getting is fair, but I do like the way he's rolling with it and just kind of making fun of it, people are like sending him death threats and stuff, and he's just laughing at it. Like, so I think he's handling it well. He's making some good points, and he's not insulting gamers. He's just, making fun of those gamers that like to watch instead of play. So yeah, that's all we got to say about that. Our topic for this week is we're gonna talk about linear versus open world, and getting your money's worth, like value versus the overall experience. There's been a lot of debates about, like, I know we bring this up on the podcast a lot, but the Order is an example. Like, people heard that the playthroughs were only like 6-7 hours, and said that that's not worth $60. It's a single player game only, and like they'll say that, but a game like Fallout or a GTA where you have an open world and tons of hours to play, that is worth the money. And I don't necessarily agree with that. I really feel like sometimes it is good to get a lot of money's worth. Like I feel like Bloodborne is a incredible amount of gameplay you can get for just the $60 price, but at the same time, I enjoy a quick, really good 10-hour campaign or even a 6-hour campaign just as much, if not more. Like pretty much all my favorite games are not open world, and like I really do love the linear structure, and I really hate that linear is almost turned into kind of a bad word. How do you guys feel about it? I mean, I'm sure you guys like to play a little bit of both, like I do, open world and linear. But how do you feel about the whole issue of...
Yeah, I like both. Like, I don't discriminate either way. Like, I feel like it just depends on the experience. Whatever you get out of it, it really just depends on the story and how it's put together and the gameplay. It's both can be really good and both can be really bad. But I think these days, especially like you said, the linear games, it's becoming just a bad term. Like, you don't want the length of your game to leak out before the game releases, because it can totally, torpedo your launch.
Mm-hmm.
And that's crazy to me. Because some of the best games of all time have been linear. Even The Last of Us, relatively linear game.
Totally.
But it's amazing. It's probably the best game of last generation.
Yeah, I agree. Uncharted series, Ico is a good example too, because the Order got hammered for being 6 hours and single player only. Well, Ico is even shorter, but I don't think it got hammered. I mean, I wasn't really a gamer back then, but as far as I know, like, people totally felt that was worth $60. And although obviously it is a better game, but at the same time, it's like, where do you draw the line? Like, a lot of people think that it's the value proposition is strictly about amount of hours you get out of a game, and I don't think so. But at the same time, like, I wouldn't want linear games all the time, and I wouldn't want open world games or like really long games all the time. Like, I kind of like a mix, because then you just get to play more games and experience more games. Because if they were all 80 hours long, you'd never have time to play them all.
Right. Every game can't be
one or the other.
60 hours long. You'll never finish a game if they're all 60 hours long.
I mean, plus from...
Yeah, just look at...
Sorry, go ahead.
No, all right, thanks. I just look at The Witcher. The Witcher is a humongous game. It's a game that people, on average, from what I've read, it's at least 100, up to around 300 hours or so in the game. And I mean, people justify that because of the content, and the content is and how it melts together perfectly to where, it's like linear, but then you're given this player choice where you can go out and do whatever you want, regardless of whether you want to follow the main story or not. And I feel like that has been growing more this generation. I mean, if you just look at the biggest games of the last couple of years for PS4 and the Xbox One, I'd say that open world is usually up there, at least more so than last generation. And luckily, we're in an age where open world games have more depth. I mean, if you look at an open world game from last generation compared to this generation, there's more. It seems like it's more bang for your buck.
It's more vibrant.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
more
exactly.
to do. And
The world
not
feels
just,
like it's living.
Yeah, it's not going to be just like missions and collectibles. Like the Assassin's Creed games notoriously are kind of like meaningless little side missions and collectibles and then the main story. Like I feel with these games, the side missions, especially with The Witcher, which I haven't played myself, but everyone that talks about it says the side missions are almost better than the main story because they're so interesting.
Far Cry.
Yeah.
Yeah, Far Cry was similar as well.
Yeah, I can. I'm usually not a big fan of playing side missions, but yeah, like there are some games that like the side missions are a lot of fun. Batman as well, Batman for sure, because I mean the quality of the side missions in that, like all the the penguin stuff, the the Firefly or whatever his name was, the human bat, and, like those were really cool parts of the game.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, like I was gonna say before, is that like not every game can be open world. Like it costs a lot of money to make such huge games, and like I always hate hearing people say, "Oh, well, that's single player only. It's only 10 hours long. I'm just gonna rent that." And it's like if everyone did that, those games would stop existing. Like they would go away because they wouldn't make enough money. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because those games do cost a lot of money to make too. So. I hate hearing that because like I really love those games. I want to keep seeing them being made. But like it's almost kind of rare now to see a single player linear game without a multiplayer mode. Like, and I kind of wish we had it more. Like, but it's because there are a lot of people that will just rent it instead, and that's kind of messing up the industry, or buy it used for a lot less money. And
I get a little bit worried with Sony's like first party studios because like The Order got kind of panned. Until Dawn, it's getting great reviews, but at the same time, it's not going to sell that well.
Yeah.
At least not likely. I kind of get worried that they're going to start really gravitating toward open world games that they can extract more money from.
Yeah, me too.
With their first party studios.
I guess Until Dawn did actually do pretty good in the UK. Apparently, it was number 2 on the charts.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Also, from what I've read, there's been some stores that are sold out. Like they didn't, like Sony didn't anticipate it for it to be as good as it is, and so some stores like their shipments are coming in too low of numbers to where stores are selling out of the game and stuff like that.
Man,
well, that's good news.
It's doing all right.
It reminds me of what they did with Resistance 3. They just did not market it at all. And it's like, how is a game supposed to succeed when you do that? Like, you got to market your games, especially your big AAA games. And it pisses me off that Sony, they'll spend a ton of money marketing these third-party games, but then there's, first-party games like that, they just ignore almost. Like, that's one of the things that pisses me. It's funny to me,
too, because they had, like, these actors, like Hayden Panettiere in this game.
Yeah, like,
who is really recognizable. So, like, even if you don't really understand what the game's about, any average person on the couch is going to know that's Hayden Panettiere. Wow, that really looks like Hayden Panettiere in a video game. Like, maybe I should look into this.
Yeah, same thing with...
and also the guy from Mr. Robot, the main actor from there, he's pretty big right now, and he's also in that as well. Just and also there's some big names. There's an actor that was in Fargo, and there's like some pretty big names in there that a more mainstream audience would recognize. I'm not sure why I didn't market that.
Was it
more.
Steve Buscemi?
No, it's the other guy that is alongside him.
Oh. I forget who that guy was, but no, that was a really good movie.
I think he plays the Russian in Armageddon.
Oh. Yeah, okay. I know who you're talking. He's in a ton of movies, actually. That's cool. I don't know. I didn't realize
he's good. They're all really good, actually. I was actually very impressed because a lot of people said like the acting was corny, but I thought that it was all pretty spot on. Like, I didn't think, like, one thing that annoys me is, with the game, not to get on too far of a tangent here, but that people say, like, they get annoyed with, like, cliche teen acting, like they all play their roles. But like thinking back,
I think that's
like
the point.
that's kind of like what high school is like, where everyone's like basically like these archetypes, you know?
Yeah, they're all a bunch of idiots.
Right. Yeah. So like, I don't know. I felt like it was not that unbelievable for some of the things they were doing.
Yeah, like there was, I saw a little bit of a playthrough. There was one girl that was driving me nuts for how annoying and dumb she was, but like it totally reminded me of like girls I knew in high school. You know what I mean? Like, so I think it is kind of cool that it nails that whole teen slasher, horror movie type vibe to it. So it's like I think it is kind of a funny complaint because they've marketed it from the start that it is kind of like a teen slasher flick, but in game form, and you get to make the choices and stuff. So, I mean, I am actually looking forward to playing that now because, especially that you say that it's a good story. That was my main concern, to be honest. Other than Metal Gear Solid 5 coming out a week later, but definitely going to get that at some point. I really do like to support the linear games, just because it seems like sometimes other people aren't, and like I want to see more of them. Like it's kind of a bummer that like there's a lot this generation. It seems like they think that all there is multiplayer. Like it's like not even 10 years ago.
Yeah.
There almost was no multiplayer. So it's like I don't understand how some people can't enjoy gaming if it's just a linear, straight shot, 8-hour campaign or longer. Like, I mean, I love that stuff. I grew up on that stuff, so it's kind of a shame that the generation is kind of moving away from that stuff a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love 8 to 12 hours. I think that's like the money spot for a linear type game, that is.
I think it depends.
Yeah.
I think it depends.
And then people see that compared to like the numbers of like open world games where it's like 40, 50, 60, 100 hours and stuff. And I mean, I don't think that people take into account how long 8 hours is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good chunk of your life. Like you're just sitting on the couch playing a game for that long and you're enjoying the experience. And just the 8 hours is a good amount of time. You pay a good $30 for some good theaters for like a 2-hour experience, and I don't know. Some people just aren't putting it into the right perspective.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm kind of the opposite. Like sometimes when I hear, "Oh, this is a 40-hour game," that actually kind of makes me shy away from it rather than want to get it. Like, because it's like sometimes it kind of feels like a daunting task just because I have such a big backlog, and also I've never played a 40-hour game that had as good of a story or good of an experience as a lot of the 10-hour games I've played. Granted, I haven't played Final Fantasy VII, but I that's still a very different experience. Like I know there is cutscenes, but I don't think it's comparable to like the more like an Uncharted of today, right?
No, yeah, right.
Okay.
Well, I mean, any game like that, there's just so much like non-story content. Going from point A to point B, training your guys, grinding. It kind of takes away from the the immersion of the story, because just like Final Fantasy VII, like it's the end of the world, you have to get to this thing, but I'm going to spend 30 hours training my guys to get stronger.
Wow.
Or like there's an asteroid coming to destroy the world, and I'm going to go to the gold saucer to train chocobos. Like it takes away a little bit from the gravity of what the story is supposed to be telling you.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, it almost reminds me of
all the open world games are like that. It's the end of the world. You say you got to do something. There's only so much time left, but you're chasing Riddler trophies and like stuff like that.
That almost reminds me a little bit of Bloodborne. The way you're trying to grind to improve things so that you can get through to the next area and stuff. But, man, I forgot what I was going to say after that. Hooray! Forgetting stuff. What I was going to say is that's one of the reasons I do really like Crysis 1, is it is the absolute best of both worlds, because it is totally linear, but the maps are so huge that it plays out like it has all the best things of open world gaming, And the best things of it, like I said, best of both worlds. I don't need to rephrase it, but what? Oh, I remember what I was going to say. I totally agree with you about the open world thing, because it kind of dilutes the experience. I feel like it kind of dilutes the story, and like just by having so much time in between cutscenes and story pieces, that like I feel like it's just kind of a more watered down experience compared to a more focused and driven type game, which is why I really like linear games, because they're just sometimes they're just crazy thrill rides. But if you take that same game or that same story and put it in an open world setting, it wouldn't be anywhere near as thrilling. It wouldn't be anywhere near as high paced. And that's why, like, I personally do prefer the linear stuff for the most part. Like, and I think a lot of the people that don't like linear don't really look at it that way, like, or they just don't realize it because maybe they haven't even played a whole lot of great linear single player stuff.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah, like there's some single player things that just the narrative and just the way the gameplay combines with it, it's much more streamlined than a open world game where you have so many options that the experience gets boggled down under it all. And with just one linear experience, you have a limited time to do it. It's like an essay, the more an essay goes on, usually it can get watered down, it dilutes itself. But if it's perfect, it's not too long, it's not too short. Just the average length.
It just gets the point across.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The best essay is the one that gets the point across. It could be, sometimes it takes 10 pages. Sometimes it takes 1 page. But, I mean, either way, whichever one gets the point across, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think of, like, as far as open worlds that don't water down the experience and they combine the best of both worlds? Like I would say maybe the original Assassin's Creed games. Like I've really felt they have a wicked strong story. They were open world, but they weren't like 30 hours. It was like 15 hours, which I think is just about right. And I think those are the opposite of Crysis 1, or the Crysis 1 of the open world games, where it's the best of both worlds. Do you guys have any other examples?
About the first one?
Assassin's Creed 1 through 3. I didn't like the fourth one too much.
Because the first one, I played the first one. I mean, albeit I played it years after. I played it around the time that that like Revelation was coming out. I played the first one, and it's just I disagree. It's repetitive. It's the story just kind of drones on, and
it is wicked repetitive.
I feel like if that was more linear, I feel like they could have done more. But I mean,
or just shorter.
I'm not a developer. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with about Assassin's Creed 1, although I did really enjoy the story. I thought it was really intriguing start to a series, but it was definitely wicked repetitive at times. But Assassin's Creed 2, I feel, is like almost like a perfect game. Like that's probably my favorite open world game.
Yeah, that's what everyone always says. I need to get around to that eventually.
Yeah.
One good example I can think of, which is a game that I didn't even like very much, was L.A. Noire.
Yeah.
That's kind of like a linear game that's in an open world.
Yeah, because the open world is so empty.
Yeah, it was.
Unfortunately.
And the funny thing is...
Because they really...
Sorry, go ahead.
That's why I hated it, is because they built that amazing representation of L.A.
Oh, yeah, it was a great representation.
Yeah, and you actually, for me, I skipped all the car rides. Like, I just fast-forwarded them.
Yep. They were pointless.
They're boring.
Mm-hmm.
No, so you don't even use the world. You just go to the mission sites and, finish it.
It was cool to see it. It felt like a living, breathing world before we had actual living, breathing worlds. Well, not in a literal sense, but you know what I mean. It was such a great, well-developed L.A. or was it L.A.? It was L.A.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, and then it just whenever you actually walked around in it without driving, it was so boring. It was just a it was like a painting, you know. You just saw it, but it wasn't fun to be in it. It just sort of, it was just pretty. That's it.
It reminded me of GTA 3, like open world games from PS2 era, because there was nothing to do in the city. Like, it was a city, there were people. But like the main thing I really didn't like about L.A. Noire is the map was actually really big, and it took a really long time to drive from point to point sometimes. But it's like just this lifeless city. I mean, like, yeah, it did look pretty cool, like 1950s style, but totally like that, like, and it was very linear. But like, I guess that's kind of like kind of a bad example of an open world game being linear, because it was a little too not enough of an open world, I guess.
It should have been just linear if they were going to do that.
Yeah.
I feel like it would have been more well developed that way.
And I'm sure they could have finished it a hell of a lot sooner.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see, an open world. We would just say an open world that blends it nicely. Is that what you said?
Yeah, no, just an open world game is like the best of both worlds. Like, that, it still has the really strong story experience that you would see in like a linear game, but it is an open world game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Assassin's Creed 2 is a perfect example.
Okay. Yeah.
But I mean,
I would kind of say like Red Dead.
Yeah, that's a good one. Although that was
Redemption,
very
because,
open.
Red Dead. Yeah.
Because of the time and like the setting, like even like all the side stuff you do kind of like is realistic, you know, like hunting and stuff, like all that kind of all those side missions, they still are kind of realistic for the time. Like, you'd be doing those things, like they're not the main story, but they still maintain the atmosphere of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree with that one.
I think
Red Dead's a good example.
That one could have benefited from being maybe a little more linear, a little more story oriented. But it definitely is a good example of an open world game that still had a very, very strong story and experience. But yeah, I mean, it is kind of a strange issue. It kind of surprises me that there are people that don't want to play both, or they shy away from the linear stuff. But I guess, you know, that is the kind of the way the things that have changed over time. I guess some people, you know, maybe can't afford to buy every game, so like they go with the more expensive stuff. I mean, the longer games. But I personally hope that just the market in general doesn't go all the way that way. I mean, like, so far this generation has produced some really strong games and really cool, like, full, more deep experiences, but we've also seen some bad trends, like always online, and the market just going away from linear stuff, which is kind of a shame. But hopefully games like Uncharted 4 and The Last Guardian will bring some of it back.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Agreed there.
Yeah. Which I think both of those will probably deliver a really good experience, like most Naughty Dog games do. But
I think The Last Guardian's probably gonna bomb pretty badly.
Yeah, but yeah, it's. I feel like if it came out a few years or whenever it was announced, it would have been better. But the market's different now. I feel like a game like that doesn't have the capability to succeed very well.
I
still think
it's going to be really disappointed.
I think it's good for at least 2 million sales, at least, because even the order is already at 1 million.
I could see it being like a 6 and a sales success.
Oh, you mean like...
it's going to be 6 out of 10.
You mean you think it's going to be a critical failure?
Critical failure, yeah. I'm almost positive.
Critical failure, I don't know. I feel
it depends what they give us.
Like sales-wise, it will be, but critical, I don't know about that.
I think it will be judged hardly, though. Made up. Like, I think they're going to be harsh on it, though, for sure. Like the reviewers, just because how long it's taken to come out. But I don't think it's going to be a sales failure. I think it's going to sell fine. Maybe not great.
Yeah, I think it'll sell well.
But it will sell. Like, there's a ton of bad press about the order. It still managed 1 million, and it's still going too. Like, it's still going to sell more. I don't know if it'll break 2, but 1 million is still pretty good. Like, that makes a lot of money back. I don't know if it made enough to pay for the game and some profit, but I'm sure
it didn't pay for that one, just because it was probably a really expensive project, considering when it was, kind of developed before the PS4 was even out.
Maybe, yeah. Because it could be a lot worse. Like, there's a lot of exclusives on Xbox that are only like a 500,000. Like, Sunset Overdrive, I think, is only like 700,000 or something. So
that was a tragedy. I wish that was on PS4. That would have sold really well.
Oh yeah, I want that game so badly.
So do I.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much every game sells better on PS4. But yeah,
the
like
leading platform right now.
Yeah, there's just a lot more people. So that's why I don't think there's any way that The Last Guardian will be a failure. I mean, especially because I feel like there's still a lot of people like us that played Shadow of the Colossus and are not going to miss that game for the world. I'm totally excited to play it, and I do hope they deliver. Like, they've been working on it a long time, so I do hope it's a great game. Though I'm not expecting it to beat Ico or Shadow of the Colossus. I just hope it's just more of that great experiences that they delivered back, way back on PS2. But I don't know. Do you guys have anything to add? Or does that about do it?
Well, I just think that Sony's done like a really good job mixing the two this gen with, The Order, even though it didn't really work out that well. Until Dawn, that surprised a lot of people, and that's very linear. That's about as linear as it gets, actually. And that's doing well. Tearaway Unfolded is out this week, I believe.
Yeah. That's
doing well critically. I think that in Bloodborne, that's open world, but that's, doing really well. I think, people said they didn't have any exclusives, but all of their exclusives have done pretty well with the exception of The Order. So, I just hope they really continue that because they have this really talented group of studios, and if they keep using them, focusing on the talents of each studio, I think they'll do really well, and I hope they continue to do that.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll be fine. Hopefully,
for sure.
Seeing as how they've done this year, it'll be good.
For sure. I just really hope that they do a better job marketing stuff like Until Dawn, because it is kind of annoying to see them barely even market that at all, and really the same thing with Tearaway Unfolded. I mean, it is a remake basically, but they could do such a better job marketing that. But in the meantime, they're spending millions and millions marketing third-party games, which I know is going to make them money, but it's like you shouldn't ignore your first-party stuff. You know what I mean? Like, it's just it's annoying, especially because I really like the first-party stuff, often more than the third-party stuff. So yeah, hopefully Sony stops being Sony, but that's never going to happen. But yeah, I think that's about it.
Sounds right, yeah.
Cool. But yeah, I guess we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for listening.